what's it about, and yeah.
I just missed the second half of that question because of the meeting being recorded thing come up. Do you mind repeating that?
I think I kind of started mumbling up. It's okay. So what's the Tania Khan Fund?
For
Is it
sure.
some
Yeah, so I'll answer
entrepreneurial,
that one first. Sure. So the Tanya Khan Scholarship Fund is a family-run fund that my family and I started in 2015 in honor of my late mother. She was an elementary school teacher, and she was really, really passionate about creating accessible education and being at the forefront of those opportunities. So after her passing, we really wanted to honor this in a way. And the way that we decided was to create this scholarship for her in honor of her. And it supports a young woman who's entering teachers college. So the scholarship's now risen to $10,000. It's able to support more women entering teachers college every year. So that's just one of the little things I started in before high school that kind of got me into this world of, creating solutions and that sort of thing. And then to answer about the class, it's called the Design Thinking Experience with Steve, ENT 401. And it's a really unique class. As mentioned before, I'm a global management student, so we don't learn too much about entrepreneurship at all. And I've really appreciated this class because it totally has restructured the way I think. It's introduced me to so many different tools that are, like Steve is mentioning, they're so applicable to not just starting a business, but how do I become happier? How do I figure out what I really want? And I just thought it was really special that I was able to take this class totally about myself. How can I be happier? What career do I want to have? And I'm getting a credit for it. So it's been a really cool experience. Steve's videos are, they're so engaging. They're nothing like I've had in online learning. So that's my review of the class. Only 4 weeks in, but I'm enjoying it a lot so far.
And they're all free, available on YouTube.
So Steve, can students from AKU enroll in? Will there be some mechanism, or I mean, other than just watching the videos?
At a certain point in time, I try not to get too involved in administrative matters. I like being a professor. If you Zoom bomb my class and show up, I probably won't notice if you're polite. Everything's available online as well too. So, I don't know, but I'm probably dense enough. I won't even notice I've got a new student for several months. But I'm sure that there's some kind of mechanism that Ryerson's going to want money if you want to get some kind of a course credit issued. Talk to Mohammed. You've got better connections into the powers that be at my university than I do. So I don't know, but I'm happy to have your students take the class. It's I've been piloting this as kind of like a minimum viable product. I'm on probably version number 5 or 6 of this course, and but I could see, making this just freely available on, just like promoting it through the broader, world at large. And, I don't care about making any money on the book or anything like that. So I'm happy to make the book freely available and all the videos freely available. I mean, the only thing that really costs effort is the coaching and the mentoring. And I've only got the time and effort to personally mentor a certain number of people. But what could be really cool would be to have my former students provide that level of mentoring, maybe through some kind of like Khan Academy thing, or through edX or something like that. But yeah, that would be kind of, I don't know. There's a social change making project for you, Alia. Make this available. I don't need to make any money off of it. Help other students who might benefit from the material.
Excellent. Okay, so we've noted all of that. This has been recorded.
What did I just get myself into?
This has been recorded, so you'll have like several new students joining. So there's a question here for actually, I think Steve, you might be able to take this on. Do you think an incubation exchange program would be viable, in which students from Canada incubate their ideas here in Pakistan and vice versa? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a great idea. for multiple reasons. One is I think that traveling internationally is one of the single most important experiences that a young person can do in their life. It really is just shocking how traveling to a different country for a couple of weeks can really just open your eyes to such a wide variety of things. And I say this because I teach a lot of classes internationally, mostly in Germany and Italy. And every year I take 15 students from Ryerson with me to Germany. And often these are students that I've taught for like 4 classes. I've had these students in my class with the amazingness that is me for 2 whole years. And they routinely say that that 1 week was more transformative to them than 2 years of me in a classroom. And these are students who like me saying this. So I have to assume that it's true, that so many people say that that 1 week traveling in this immersive, rich, like hackathon environment is more transformative than 2 whole years in the classroom. So I have to take that at face value and believe that it's true. So certainly just from the student point of view, I see that that's important. But also I think it's really important for the other teams within an incubator to see teams from other countries that come in as well too. So it's selfishly beneficial to anybody who's in our incubator to have your students come to visit us, to change their mindset about how things work. But also, I believe it'll change the mindset of your own students as well too. And a particular pitch that I'll make for our incubators is, it's hard to generalize about an entire country. Right? It's like, you can't say all Chinese people are a certain way, or all Americans are a certain way, or all Canadians are a certain way. But having been doing this tech transfer thing pretty intensively now for most of my life, I can tell you Americans buy stuff in a way that most other nations, they hesitate, right? So the best way to sell to a Canadian company is sell to 3 American companies first, and then the Canadians want to be first to be third. But if you go to a Canadian company and you're like, hey, buy my thing, they want a free lunch, they want to talk, they want to negotiate. And you're like, you're killing my little company. I can't feed my kids because you're not buying anything. Americans buy stuff. They're the single best part of the world to sell into, especially big companies. They make decisions way more quickly than anybody else. And again, I would say the best way to sell to somebody in your own area, sell to 3 Americans first and then sell back into Pakistan. So Toronto is right in the middle of the North American landmass. And you're not in America, you're in Canada. So it's a nice, welcoming, friendly place with nice people, but yet you're right there in the same time zone. It's kind of like, Chicago, basically, where we're kind of like right in the middle of the landmass. And so, and I tell this to people all the time. The best way to sell to an Italian, sell to 3 Americans first. Best way to sell to a German company, the number of times that people hire a Canadian to talk to an American to get 2 German companies talking to each other to make a sale just blows me away. So your students would definitely benefit from coming to North America to sell.
That's brilliant. I think that could be your take-home message as well, if I may. sell to 3 Americans, and that's the best way of really commercializing.
Don't even waste your time with the patent anywhere else. Get your US patent, forget the rest of the world, forget the PCT. If you can't make money in America, you can't make money. I mean, that's been my experience. Is everybody else is slow, and they might be great customers once you got them, but they're so slow. My company can't live long enough. So I love Americans. Like, they buy stuff. The other thing I love about Americans is they say no. Like, everybody else is too polite. They'll be like, oh, we're very interested in your product. Please come back. Please get on a plane and come and visit us so you can continue to sell us. But they're just being polite because they don't want to tell you, Americans, they don't care about your feelings. They're like, no, this is a stupid idea. Get out of my office, kid. And they're like, thank you. Thank you for not making me waste my time. So anyway, sell to Americans.
Okay, so Steve, there's a question over here. Being inclined towards entrepreneurship, which domain one should work on the most to excel in an organization with limited resources, head, heart, or hand? or does it vary depending on the situation? This is probably stemming from your one of the YouTube videos in which you talk about. If you could also explain what head, heart, or hand is based on your.
So thank you. That's a good question there. So there's three major domains of learning. There's the head, knowledge, stuff in textbooks, things that you can regurgitate, things that have right and wrong answers, stuff like that. There's skills, the hand, and then there's attitudes, or the heart. So the head, the heart, and the hand. Knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Knowledge is the stuff that universities traditionally focused on, because you could lecture on it, and you can assess the learning through exams. So textbooks, lectures, and exams are kind of sort of fundamental to learning knowledge. All the accreditation agencies, all of the employers, all of the governments in the world have really switched more to skill-based learning outcomes. What can you do? I don't care about the stuff that you can answer on a multiple choice test. What I care about is, what can you do? Can you build a web page? Can you program an app? Can you solve this? Can you actually cure this patient? I don't care if you can regurgitate some chemical formula. Can you figure out what the problem is with that patient? That being said, I personally believe that the heart is the most important. It's the attitudes that you bring to things, and this shift about entrepreneurship isn't about knowledge in a book, like Lean Startup or something like that, or design thinking. And it's not just about the skills, you got guerrilla skills and bootstrapping skills and things, but it's about your mindset. It's about your attitude. Are you curious? Are you proactive? Do you have resiliency, grit, and tenacity? And so the number one attitude that employers from an entrepreneurship perspective are looking for is proactivity. That employees, get some kind of weird, ill-defined job. Like, I'm going to hire Alia. You seem like a pretty competent person. I'm not exactly sure what your job title is. And within 3 months, everyone's going, how did we live without Alia? Nobody touches a PowerPoint presentation without her magic anymore. Nobody knows how to do macros on a spreadsheet. Get Alia involved. Nobody understands how Google Analytics works. And so we don't know what her job title is. We don't know what she does around here, but she just has this magic and makes things work. And suddenly everyone's reliant upon her. And nobody even knows what her job title is or why we hired her in the first place. That's the kind of entrepreneurship attitude that employers are really looking for. So even though universities focus on the head, accreditation agencies and governments focus on the hand, I think it's all about the head. It's all about your attitude. It's all about the mindset.
Fabulous. So the heart, right? So
the heart, yeah.
Brilliant. I would highly recommend that people who haven't seen those YouTube videos of Steve's, I don't know, Steve, would you be able to share the link over here? And we have a few more minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So so we're coming up to the hour, top of the hour, right? So we're gonna wrap up. But as a wrap up, I would like Alia to actually give us a message for our studentpreneurs, whether that's global studentpreneurs or more for a low middle income country setting such as ours. It's up to you, Alia. I think there's synergies, there's similarities. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, no matter where you are, global, Steve actually gave me really great advice in my first year. And he told all of Enactus that you're never ready for anything. This was during our competition season. We were all really nervous. And then I distinctly remember Steve saying that you're never ready for anything. You're not ready for your first job. You're not ready for your first relationship, et cetera, et cetera. So knowing that you're never ready for anything, I would tell other studentpreneurs to not be afraid of failing. I think it's really easy as a young person to cop out of things because you don't know enough in the space or because you have other commitments, you're in school, you're in work. But if there is a prime time to fail, I think it's while you're a student. When you're a student, you have so much room to fail and you have so much support to pick you back up. like being in school and with your connections there. You have so much opportunity to learn from the people around you. You can apply the things you're learning in school in real time, and you can find something you're passionate about before you leave school, and then you're off searching for a career. So it's definitely a difficult process. It's a very long learning process. But going back to the wonderful nuggets of wisdom that Steve's given to me, nothing worth doing is easy. So to my fellow studentpreneurs, I would say if you have the passion and the drive to see whatever your venture or anything, you have the passion to see it through, then don't be afraid of failing. You should take risks and fail smart.
Excellent, thank you. Fail smart. That's great. Intelligent past failure is what I came across in a course I've taken on creativity and innovation. It was on Coursera, and they spoke about intelligent past failure. So that your comment reminds me of that. And Steve has spoken about making mistakes, and we keep talking about making lots and lots of mistakes because that's the best way to learn. Although be careful that within the healthcare space, you don't want to make mistakes in the clinical space. Okay, so it's that holistic approach to making mistakes and then pivoting, and so smart mistakes, intelligent past failure. Steve, would you like to leave us with some parting comments as well, please?
Well, I'll you mentioned mistakes and failures. And one of the important attitudes is and skills is reframing. And so, don't let your ego get bound up in your hypothesis testing. Don't let your ego get bound up in, oh, my company's going to be successful. You're far better off saying, I've got this crazy idea. I think it could be really important, but I don't know. Let me try. And that way, when you find ways that don't work, rather than going, oh, I'm wrong, I failed, I made a mistake, you think, I discovered another way that isn't going to work. And this came from, I think, Thomas Edison. I haven't failed to invent the light bulb. I've discovered 10,000 ways that it doesn't work. But let me keep trying. And so, this reframing of things as experimentation, and to abstract yourself away from the experimentation, to say, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to discover, but let me do my best to see if this might work. Then in many ways you never fail. My series is based on a number of principles, one of the principles is the crazy quilt principle, which says, like, find other people to work with, and you only need one customer. You don't have to solve all the world's problems. You just need one customer who's going to pay you to work with their thing, and then be open and adaptable to really understanding what that one customer is. Another principle is this loss avoidance principle. Don't risk your house on your crazy belief. And now you have let your ego get bound up in the success or failure of your business. Use the loss avoidance principle to take calculated risks. So there's a bunch of methods and principles that entrepreneurs use to mitigate risk and to reframe failure. And, I think that most medical professionals and most scientists and engineers have been brought up with there's right and wrong answers. I think that this is the answer. Wrong. You get an F. I think this is right. You get an A, and like everything's black and white. Everything's right or wrong. And in your own life as a mother or a father, like there's very few right and wrong answers. Like I think my kid needs, me to laugh at him right now rather than love and support, like, I don't know, try not to drop them on their head and break them or anything, but like, who's to say what's the right and wrong thing to do with your kids sometimes? And you do the best you can. So anyway, I'll stop there.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much. You drop them on the head, they just bounce back, by the way. No, it's just kidding. But one customer you mentioned, in the case of Americans, it's going to be 3, by the way, right? For your earlier, so you've got to have 3 Americans. Got to sell it to 3 Americans, to 3 customers. Is that the math then?
Well, I would say you really need your key reference account. You really need the first one.
Okay, fine.
And in many ways, especially when you're doing technology licensing of high risk, patentable intellectual property, and you're not selling to like consumers, like you can't be greedy. You know, if you go to a pharmaceutical company for a licensing agreement, you only need one licensing deal. You don't need three, you only need one, and don't be greedy. You know, like, you know, the pharmaceutical company is bringing more to the table than probably you are. You probably can't bring it to the market on your own. And so, you know, selling to any one company is really, you know, in the technology licensing space is a huge win. And then you can take the cash flow from that first licensing deal and say, aha, okay, now my molecule's got lots of other applications as well too. But, you know, once we've made money with this particular company, then maybe we can, you know, think about some other things. So I'm not fixated on the three so much as, but you know, my experience is, you know, you want to make a sale to a German company, get an American company at least interested, right? So you don't have to sign a deal with the American company, but as soon as they're really interested, now suddenly everybody else, it's, you know, it's like, you know, women didn't talk to me until after I got married. And suddenly I'm like, wow, I'm popular. Did I get more handsome? Or did they feel that like, because I got a wedding ring, I'm safe now? Now I'm like, wow, I got female friends. What a great thing that was. But boy, when you're hungry and lonely and you're trying to meet a female, like nobody wants to talk to you. You like the way I do that life and business thing? It's
Okay, great. Steve, we've got to have another discussion with you, hopefully, you know, not too, in the near future, perhaps we can talk about other life lessons that you can give us.
I want to hear more from Alia. She says
Okay,
so
sure.
many nice things about me. Like,
Thank you for that. I told her before all of this starting that
okay.
you've
You
got
want
to
a
be
good
nice.
grade, suck up to Steve.
You've
This
got to
was
be nice to Steve. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Alia. This has been fabulous. Yeah, we'd love to keep in touch, and we already are working together on some projects. And so, once again, thank you from all of us here.
We hope to see everybody at the hackathon. It's taking place what day? October
12th
to the 22nd.
There we go. So advertisement for that. I look forward to meeting some of the best teams from that, helping coach anybody who needs it through that hackathon.
Thank you for that. Great.
Thank you. Good night. Well,
All right.
good morning. Bye.
Have a great day.